Welcome along to Sportsbet TV. My name's Paul Alster and I'm back with you, of course, for the selections on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, and this bulletin being recorded just around Tuesday lunchtime ahead of the first day, so we still don't know how my recommendations for day 1 have gone, but you can, of course, find them on the video archive. We're hoping that it's going to be a really good meeting. The going has eased a little from what I anticipated ahead of the first day's selections, but I still think it's generally going to be good to soft ground with a little bit of soft here and there, and that's probably going to be okay for most of the horses I'm interested in. Well, if you're new to the service, and I know a lot of new people are joining us, we're all about tipping horses that are really decent prices that you can bet each way. I got a message through from one tipster yesterday, courtesy of the Google recommendations, with 3 hot tips. 2 of them were odds on and 1 was 5 to 4, all for the Cheltenham Festival. Well, I don't think you need to be any expert to pick those out. They may well win, but if just one of them gets beat, you're in trouble. I'm looking for big prices, and those that follow me regularly will know I've been putting up winners over the winter and prior to that at some very, very big prices. As big as 66 to 1 was our biggest hit back in November. Now, all my runners for Wednesday are going to be decent prices. It's always a terrific day, day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. And it takes me back, if I can just mention to you, a trip quickly down memory lane. 1993, I was at the festival. We'd gone to back Deep Sensation in the Champion Chase. He went on to win. But another horse we fancied was in the opening race, the Sun Alliance Hurdle, as it was in those days, in which there was a horse called Lord Relic of Martin Pipes, who was red-hot favourite. But my friend and I, who'd gone to Cheltenham, were given a tip for a horse trained by Kath Walwyn, the widow of the great Fulk Walwyn, a horse that nobody thought had any chance. His name was Cardinal Red, but we'd been told that he had been working really well, and that they were unusually confident he would outrun his odds. So we went and had a bet there on course, and we bet on the tote, backing him win and place. And as they came up the hill, Galestrom was leading. I think it might have been Nigel Twiston-Davies's first festival winner. But chasing him home was none other than Cardinal Red at 150 to 1. And he paid over 40 to 1 the place, and we were going berserk in the press room with all the other journalists and TV people thinking we'd lost our senses. But that was a wonderful day. It was 28 years ago now. I'm hoping that this second day for us in 2021 will provide us with a profit. Let's go to today's recommendation. The first is in the race that was the Sun Alliance. It's now called the Ballymore Hurdle, the 120. Now, once again, the racing has cut up to far few runners than are usually found at Cheltenham. And I've got to say, a lot of the owners and trainers, they need to get their act together. They're squawking about not enough prize money, not enough opportunities. And here you are racing for very big prizes. And for some of the big races, only 6 or 7 have turned up because there's a hot favourite. Everybody in racing knows you should never be frightened of one horse. Anything can go wrong. So the fact that so few owners and trainers have taken up the challenge in some of the big races, I think is a little disappointing. But in the first race, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, we've got Bob Ollinger as favourite. Gaillard de Menil, another one who was expected to run well. 2 very strong Irish contenders who have both won Grade 1 races in Ireland this year. Brave Man's Game looks the best of the British for Paul Nicholls, the Challow Hurdle winner. And you've got this Bear Gills, a horse that's unbeaten. And he could be anything, but he's stepping up big time. Now, I was very interested in a horse called Kesgon Risk for the Supreme Novices Hurdle, but he didn't run. And he runs instead here in the 120 on Wednesday. Kesgon Risk is trained by the baby-faced assassin, Joseph O'Brien, and he's got Donna Myler riding this horse. And he's a horse I've been keeping my eye on. He won a Fairy House bumper when he was trained by Tim Hyde that was on debut in January of 2020. And then they sent him to the sales, and he made a whopping £370,000 this gelding. He came out and won his novice hurdle at Fairy House in November, battling home after a 10-month absence. And then he was 3rd in a really good Grade 1 contest at Leopardstown over Christmas behind Appreciated, who goes, of course, on Tuesday in the Supreme Novices. He was staying on really well there at the finish, so I suppose it's not a great surprise that O'Brien thinks he'll be better suited by the extra 5 furlongs, and I think he's going to run well. He's been unconsidered by many. Now, at the time of recording, he's generally on offer at 12 to 1 each way, but because there are only 7 runners, that's for 2 places. With the exception of Betfair Sportsbook. And I've had a bid on with them because they're offering 3 places for 7 runners at 12 to 1. So I think that is a very fair price. 3 places, 12 to 1 each way. Kescon Risk in the opening race, the 120, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Now, there's no bet in the second race there, the Brown Advisory, the old RSA Chase. I think Mumfish is going to be very, very hard to beat, but I wouldn't want to be betting him at the odds on, even though I think he is a potential Gold Cup winner of the future. Tremendously good jumper, usually. Let's take you to a race where there are plenty of runners to choose from, and that's the Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. 2:30 on Wednesday, 26 runners, many firms paying 7 places each way. So a real chance for us to get our teeth into this one. Now, it was won last year by Dame de Compagnie, who landed a very big gamble, returned 5 to 1 favourite. But over the previous 9 renewals, the winners have come in at 28 to 1, 20 to 1, 16s, 12s, 9s, 14 to 1, 33 to 1, and 16 to 1 twice. So there have been plenty of turn-ups. Nicky Henderson has won 3 of the last 10, and Gordon Elliott, now represented by Denise Foster, has won 2 of the last 10. And Henderson goes with Birchdale, Craiganish, Monte Cristo and Janica, while Denise Foster is represented solely, and I think this is very significant, by Grand Roi. So I think the fact that they're relying on 1 runner is very well worth noting. But I have 2 selections, both at decent prices. And the first is Guard Your Dreams, trained by Nigel Twiston Davis and the mount of his son, Sam Twiston Davis. Now, this horse has been running a lot at Bangor. He won a Bangor maiden hurdle in September on his second start, having previously finished second on debut in a bumper to Bear Gillis, the horse we mentioned earlier. He then was 4th back at Bangor, a little bit disappointing, before regaining the winning thread at Bangor in another novices hurdle in November. He then went to Sandown and he won a good handicap hurdle there over 2 miles, beating Friend or Foe off 128. And then he was an excellent 6th of the 23 runners, beaten 7 lengths by Soaring Glory in the hugely competitive Betfair handicap hurdle at Newbury, where he stayed on really well in the closing stages and we was nearest at the finish. So I think the extra trip here up to 2 miles 5 furlongs is going to suit him. He runs off 135, the same mark as at Newbury, and I think he's going to be thereabouts. Now, at the time of this recording, you can still bet him at 12 to 1 each way, and that's for the 7 places with the likes of Paddy Power and the Betfair Sportsbook, and I think that Guard Your Dreams is going to go really well. Now, because there are so many runners, I always back 2 in these really big handicaps, so I hope you'll permit me for 2 stabs at this with the 26 runners, and the other one is a much bigger prize. I mentioned Nicky Henderson won it last year. He's got a great record in the race. He has 4 runners, and I actually like the outsider of his 4, which is Janica, trained by Nicky and the mount of James Bowen. Now, this horse has had a great record. He's been a terrific servant, second in the 2 mile 5 furlong handicap chase at the 2019 Cheltenham Festival, before going on to finish 4th in the Topham Trophy over the big Aintree fences. He then won the Holden Gold Cup in November of 2019, a Grade 2 chase at Exeter. And then he switched back to hurdles, and he's done well. 4th to Somerville Boy and Roxana, who of course is very, very high class. That was in January of 2020. In the Grade 2 Relkeel off 158, and 18 days later he took on Defi de Soil and Un de So in the Clarence House Chase. So he's a horse who's very, very smart indeed. Now, he had a run back in really bad ground at Ascot this season, and I think he needed that run, shaping really well to the home turn and then getting tired. He's been dropped down to a mark of just 145, which I think gives him a real chance on better ground. And he's offered here 33 to 1 each way. And as I always say, bet with a bookmaker who is going to offer you the SP for the bigger, because very often at these festivals, horses can drift out late on, as the bookies are determined to try and balance their books and get as much money in as possible for the rags, the outsiders. So 33 to 1 available, plenty of it, but he may well go 40s, even 50s in places. And that is my second selection in the Coral Cup, Janica, for Nicky Henderson and James Bowen. And then we're going to move on to the big race of the day. Now, this, of course, is the Queen Mother Champion Chase, one of the great races of the year. These high milers go so fast over these big fences. And I don't know what your favourite 2-miler is, but going back to the days for me of the triple winner, Badsworth Boy, you've got great horses like Viking Flagship and Moscow Flyer and Masterminded and Altior and Sprinter Sacra and One Man. Maybe the winner this year is going to be able to join that kind of a list. Well, if you've been following me regularly, you'll know that in my anti-post selections, I put up in January First Flow for Kim Bailey and David Bass, and I stick with him. He is still 14 to 1 each way. I think there may be money for him on the day. And while this is a horse who has done all his winning on heavy or soft ground, his terrific win at Ascot last time out was on soft ground that most of the jockeys came back and said felt more like good to soft. And at Ascot last time, he wiped the floor with the reigning champion chaser, Politolog. So quite how Politolog is a shorter price than First Flow, I don't know. I assume the bookies are factoring in the fact that Politolog has been to Cheltenham and done it before, and that's fair enough. But I think First Flow will go well, and the noises from the Kim Bailey yard are very, very positive. And each way at 14 to 1, I'll be surprised if he doesn't finish in the first 3. It has to be said, there is one big stumbling block here, and that is the terrific Irish chaser, Chacon Boursois, who is trained by Willie Mullins and the Mount of Paul Townend. And they might not see which way he goes if he really brings his A game, but he's never run at Cheltenham, and you just never know. And at likely shade of odds on it, I wouldn't be wanting to get involved at those prices. It's a shame Altior misses the race. That may have been his last chance gone to win another champion chase. Politolog, I don't think, has been quite the same horse this season. I do think Nube Negra could go very well indeed for Dan Skelton, and he wouldn't surprise for him to hit the frame. Well, Put the Kettle On, last year's Arkle winner, has already won at the track this season in the Schlur Chase, and she's really good. But I'll be surprised if she finishes in front of First Flow. So for me, First Flow each way, 14 to 1 in the champion chase at 305. And then we come to the final race on Wednesday. And as I say, this is not a sprint, the Cheltenham Festival, it's a marathon. So if things have been going against us over the first day and a half, don't panic, keep your powder dry, don't go overboard. And remember as well, our tips are based really on an annual basis. This is trying to show a profit over the course of a season, and that we've managed to do very, very well thus far. And I'm expecting that whatever happens these 4 days, we'll continue to show profits. But I'm very optimistic we're going to have some really nice prized horses running really well for us. And in the 4:15 race, the last race I'm focusing on Wednesday, we have the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Handicap Chase over 2 miles. Now, just before I go to this, and I've almost forgotten, if you haven't already pressed the subscribe button just below this screen, do it now. Press the subscribe button and that little bell icon so that you'll be kept in touch with every time we update with new messages and new tips here at Sportsbet. So very well worth doing that, so you won't miss a trick. You'd be kicking yourself if you don't follow us and we put up a nice 20 to 1 winner or something. So anyway, for the 4:15 at Cheltenham, the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Handicap Chase, once again a big field, but the last 2 renewals have seen very different results. Last year, there was that terrific gamble on the Irish Raider Chosen Mate, all the way down to 7 to 2, and boom, in he went, winning under Davy Russell, who unfortunately misses the festival this year. And the year before that, Croco Bay left everybody stunned at 66 to 1. There've been all sorts of prices in between over the last 10 years. In this year's renewal, I can see the likes of Sky Pirate going very well. He likes the track. Zanza is interesting for Philip Hobbs. Chosen Mate is back, running for Denise Foster off £9 higher, and has surely been targeted at the race again. He won't be far away. Ibleo represents Venetia Williams on a hat-trick of wins, Ibleo. And last year's third, Joseph O'Brien's Us and Them, is another one I think that has been laid out for the race again this year. But the first of my two recommendations is a horse called Amula Gold. Amula Gold is trained by Dan Skelton and is the mount of Bridget Andrews, who, of course, she's a great rider. And the image that you'll see here is the image of her after she won at the festival, winning the 2018 County Hurdle on Mohayed, which was a great moment for her. Well, Amula Gold won at Wetherby in October off 127. He then won off 132, a listed handicap at Ascot a few weeks later, where he beat Ibleo by a short head. And remarkably, despite beating Ibleo, the way things have panned out, he's actually £8 better off with Ibleo, even though he beat him at Ascot. Now, the time after, he was second back at Ascot against none other than First Flow, who, of course, is my tip for the Champion Chase. So he's been taking on some really good horses. And then last time out, he was second at Warwick to Sky Pirate, and he's £4 better off for just over 2 lengths. So I think that the odds on offer, and I've seen that his price is beginning to go as of Wednesday morning, 20 to 1 each way was still there with Bet Victor and Bet 365 for 5 places at least. Remember to shop around, try and get at least 5 places, and remember to bet with a bookmaker. That's going to give you the SP if it's bigger. So that's Amula Gold. And the other one is a horse I really like at this track. His name is Bundoran, trained by Tom George. He's the mount of Jonathan Burke. He's got a good record at Cheltenham, and he actually was second in this race behind the aforementioned 66 to 1 winner Croco Bay back in 2019. Now, he's run so many good races over the years. He won the Desert Orchid Chase, the Grade 2 at Kempton at Christmas 2019. He ran in the Champion Chase last year and was third to Politilogue in the Grade 1. Okay, it wasn't the best ever renewal of the Champion Chase, but it shows he goes at the track. This is his time of year, and he's a horse who's capable of producing it at the big meetings. To be honest, he's not run well so far this year. His 3 runs have been disappointing, but I'm quite sure that this drop in class back to handicap company could bring out the best in him, and he's been dropped £10 since finishing third in the Queen Mother Champion Chase 12 months ago on this card. So 28 to 1 are the odds each way, and at the time of this recording, the 5 places are on offer with Betfred, Betway, Genting Bet, William Hill's Bet 365 and Bet Victor. He's one that I think may go bigger, so remember to look out for the bigger odds, of course. Now, of course, all these recommendations are my opinion. You don't have to go with me. You can go against it, of course, and I'm sure you'll be considering loads of horses, but whatever you do, keep your bets sensible, enjoy the racing, and let's hope that Wednesday's selections give us a good shout and hopefully allow us to show a profit. So that's my Day 2 bulletin. I wish you the very best of luck. We'll be posting Thursday's bulletin on Wednesday afternoon, so do look out for that. But for now, from me, Paul Alster at Sportsbet TV, I wish you the very best of luck. Let's hope all the horses and jockeys come back safely, and it's bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.